Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the latest episode of the Hard Compound Live. For those of you who don't know, my name's Rich and I run and operate the Hard Compound. One-stop shop for all things a love of motorsport. That's it, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. We can be found on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Hard Compound on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and you will find us. And search for @the Hard Compound 2310 for some reason on YouTube, and come and give us a follow and a subscription over there, please. As I say, we're here to share a love of motorsport. We put out 3 written articles every day, morning, lunchtime, and evening here in the UK. These take the form of race reviews, race previews, throwbacks, breaking news, liveries, birthdays, and anything else that we care to shake a stick at. And we cover everything from F1 to touring cars, to IndyCar, NASCAR, Aussie supercars, rallying, MotoGP, World Superbikes, British Superbikes, and again anything else that we care to tackle. In case you hadn't noticed, we also do live video interviews, just like this one, and just like this one, they are streamed on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube only. They're saved in the live section on YouTube and in the video section on Facebook if you want to give them a watch back. We've done nearly 170 of these, which is amazing. And we've had some fantastic guests from across the motorsport spectrum, racers past and present and team bosses and everything else. I won't name them all, but we've spoken to everyone from like Mario Andretti and Jackie Ickx to Mr. Brian Redman. We've spoken with Hans Stuck. We've spoken with Malcolm Wilson and Petter Solberg. Alonso Jr., Alex Palou, Will Power, Danny Sullivan, David Brabham, Derek Warwick, Mika Salo, Takuma Sato, Ukyo Katayama, Simon Taylor, the legendary commentator, and many, many other people. So do go and check those out when you get a moment. But don't do it just yet, because we have got a fantastic guest joining us this evening. Someone that I'm very excited to speak with, because he's the newest name on the BTCC roster, and he's enjoyed a rapid rise through karting, through the JSCC, through the minis, and he'll be making his debut with Unlimited Motorsport in the BTCC this season. And he's only 17, so he's got a lot. He's got a lot of time ahead, and he's done a lot already. So we're going to bring him in right now. I think he's going to be one of the best characters this season, as well as one of the drivers to watch. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Max Hall.
All right, mate.
How are you, Max?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. I've lost my coffee already. Goodness me. No, Max, thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate you being the first Wednesday night guest of the year. So, yeah, we're starting strong.
No, thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Right, pardon the rambling intro. I do like to get my waffling out of the way so people can hear from you. Just quickly, I want to say hello to some people in the comment section. Guys, if you do have any comments or questions, whichever platform you're working on, it looks like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are all working, which is lovely. If you do have any comments or questions, put them in, and we'll work them in as best we can during the course of the chat. I want to say hello to Matthew Clark and Tracy Hickley and Kay Warren and Diffan Evans, John Kane, one of the Orange Army up at Knock Hill. Love your work, my man. Sharon on Twitter, Chris Josie, friend of mine from down the road, and everyone else. Yeah, plenty of you tuning in. Any comments and questions, put them in, and we will work them in. And I'm going to breathe. Right. Firstly, Max, we'll come to this season very shortly, but firstly, congratulations on the move to the BTCC. Exciting times.
Yeah, really exciting. Yeah, just can't wait to start the season, really.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And it's good that, we've got some good upcoming young drivers on the grid this year, to take it to the older guys, which is good. But yeah, firstly, how was Christmas? How was New Year? And are you all set to go?
Well, it was as good as it can be without any racing, really. It's pretty boring on the off season, but it's nice to spend a bit of time with the family and that.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's what it's all about. We need a break sometimes, don't we? Have to spend some time with the family if we must. But no, good. Glad all is well. Just seen got a comment coming in. James Newbury, he is the chap behind the 2-meter car in the Legends series. So evening, James. Hope you're well. Keith Mail, Thomas Parker as well. So yeah, plenty of people tuning in, which is lovely. And I guess we better get into it, I suppose. obviously, we as I say, we're going to come to the BTCC and everything that you've been doing the last couple of years and your very rapid rise. We'll come to that shortly. But I always like to start right back at the start, which for someone who's only 17 years old isn't that long ago. We aren't talking the 50s like some. But where did your interest in motorsport come from? And from what I gathered, there was a lot of motorsport in the family already.
Yeah, well, my granddad was in the karting when he was my age, and then so was my dad as well. So it's been in the family for quite a long time. So yeah, that's sort of where it came from.
Yeah, I guess it was almost inevitable that you were going to kind of get involved with it somehow. I mean, do you remember your first sort of memory of like seeing car racing or watching your dad or taking an interest in motorsport? Do you remember what it was that made you first think?
Yeah, when I was really young, like 5 or 6, my dad took me to the local indoor karting track for the first time. I think it was called M4 karting or something like that.
That's the one over sort of Swindon, isn't it? Over just
yeah,
off the motorway.
that's it. Yeah,
just off the motorway in the old bunker thing.
Yeah. He just took me there when I was little and just caught the bug instantly, I guess.
And that comes up so many times. I got the bug instantly, and I think we've all had it. I mean, obviously you've gone down the racing route. I've gone down the watching it for years and trying to talk about it route. But when you first see it, either in the flesh or on TV, it kind of grabs you and it doesn't let go, does it?
No, it certainly hasn't for me yet. Yeah.
No, fantastic. So I mean, I'm going to assume that your dad didn't take much persuading when you first kind of wanted to have a go yourself. I bet he was proper keen.
He was the one who got me into it, to be fair.
He was saying, right, you're coming along.
Yeah, here's your car, get out there, son, go on.
Fantastic. I mean, I guess that if that is all, not all you know, but I mean, when you've been exposed to it from such a young age, as I say, it's kind of natural that you're going to have a go at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I read that. I mean, you were very, very young when you started racing.
Oh yeah, I think he first tried when I was 4 years old. But then apparently, I don't remember this, but he said I got out of the car and ran away because it was too noisy. But then he tried again when I was 6, and then that's when I actually started.
Okay,
kind of knowing what I was doing.
You got a bit more kind of tuned in. I mean, fair enough. I mean, age 4, it is a noisy thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that kind of second time when you went back when you were 6. I mean, I've got here that when you got in the car, I've got here that you came second in your first ever race.
Yeah, I remember that quite well. Actually, that was my first ever race at like an outdoor track.
Right.
Hooton Park, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
okay.
Came second. It was really good. It's probably what started it all off.
That's amazing. I mean, you'd obviously done a bit of karting. You'd done some indoor karting and stuff like that. I mean, I guess when you're 6, you don't get as nervous as you do when you're a bit older. But I mean, you must have been so excited, thinking this is an actual race, and I'm going to be racing people. That must have felt great.
Yeah, it really did. I don't remember a lot about it back then, since it was quite a while ago. But yeah, I remember it being just really enjoyable.
Yeah, fantastic. And then to come second, I mean, and I mean this in the nicest possible way. I mean, you surely you can't. I mean, I guess your dad would have wanted you to do well, but even he can't have been expecting you to come second, first time out. And I'm going to assume that it wasn't like a 6-kart race. It was a pretty big grid.
Yeah, it was back in the BTCC Bambino Championship, so I'm pretty sure it was quite filled out grids. But yeah, I bet he really wasn't expecting me to do that.
No, that's fantastic. And the so you got second in the first race, and you thought, well, that's a pretty high bar to set, and you went and beat it in the second race. I mean, again, you surely couldn't have expected. So, I mean, to go second and first in your first 2 ever races, that must have given you a bit of a shot in the arm. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's just what started it all off, to be honest. Early success. It can never hurt you, can it?
Well, exactly. I mean, if you've done 2 races and you've got 2 nice shiny trophies and you've come in the top 2, I mean, I think you're going to want to go back, which was great. And I guess with those results, I'm going to assume that your dad was like, "Oh, right,
yeah,
we're doing this."
Was, let's get proper into it now.
he proper went for it. But it really was just you and him, really, wasn't it? And you know, when you started, as like so many started out, it wasn't.
Early days in karting. My dad was while he was my mechanic, he drove me to and from the racetracks, did all the kart setup himself. Yeah, it was just me and him for the early days, really.
That's fantastic. I just love that. I mean, I love hearing that because I mean, there are some people who get a lucky break. They know someone who knows someone who's in a team, and there's some guys turn up with big haulers and awnings and stuff, and then there's guys who turn up with a van and a trailer. And
yeah, that's exactly what we did.
proper job. And I mean, that first year, it probably couldn't have gone any better because again, I've got here. That obviously due to the results that you'd had, and I did read somewhere in an article that you finished 5th in the championship, I think it was,
despite that's it.
Despite missing 3 rounds and having some wonky tyres in one of the rounds and stuff like that. So you'd had a good season and you got into the Open, the Open into the British Open Championship was up in Cumbria or something.
Yeah, way up north for me. Yeah, I was a while away, Cumbria.
It's miles away, but and again, even with the successes, you must have thought this is like national. This is like the top 20 or so drivers in your age group, wasn't it? And it was age 6 to 8, and you were 6 at this point. You'd been racing for half a year, and again, you must have thought, let's have a go at this and see how we can get on. Did you really think you were going to win it? Did your dad think you were going to win it?
It was quite a while ago now. I can't really remember too well, but I just remember the celebration after I won it. It was my dad was really happy. I was really happy. But yeah, that's probably one of my best achievements to date. I reckon that winning that race.
Yeah, I mean, given that you only started racing that year, to go and do that, that rapid rise, which has continued as we know. I mean, that is definitely going to give you the bug and make you think, oh, yeah, I want more of this. I mean, I did try and have a look and find some of your karting results and stuff, but you basically were karting through, this was what, 2013, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2013, yeah.
And 13, 14, 15, sort of 16, through that time, you just progressed up through, the different age brackets and stuff, didn't you? And you were winning races and doing bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you personally started to take it seriously? Because I found that when you hit the age of sort of like 11, 12, 13, the things that you wanted to do when you were 5 or 6, like me, I wanted to be the front man in a rock band and I realized I couldn't sing. So that got parked. And I wanted to be a racing driver and we couldn't afford that. So that got parked. And you kind of tried different things. Do you know when you first thought, yes, this is what I want to do, if I can, I can really make a go of this?
Well, I think ever since, as you said, that first year of good results, I was like, let's try and make this happen. I really want to do this for the rest of my life.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I just that light bulb moment of this is it. This is what I want to do. Obviously, you did well, and you worked your way up through the various series and got used to the more powerful karts and things like that. And this basically carries us up to kind of COVID time, doesn't it? Which, I mean, I'm guessing you were only, 13, something like that, 12, 13?
12 or 13, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, when COVID hit, which is mental because I was 39.
That's still a little child.
Terrified. And you done karting, you were looking at maybe moving up, and everything kind of hit the skids really with COVID. How did you keep your eye in COVID? Was it like many others? Was it like sim racing and stuff? Or
I didn't really have access to a sim. I've only recently got one. It's not a very good one, but yeah. Through COVID, we were planning on leaving karting anyway.
Yeah.
So when we could, obviously, you couldn't do anything for like 6 months, couldn't you? At all. So when the restrictions started to get lifted, we started to go out testing in cars, because that's what we were planning on doing anyway. So it didn't really affect me too much.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, because obviously, there's a lot of people obviously sadly didn't come out the other side of it, and very grateful that we all did, of course. But it really hit motorsport for 6. I've spoken to a lot of the touring car guys and everyone else, and they were saying that we don't know if we're going to go racing or stuff like that, and it was very tricky. So it was good that you were able to get out, which is It's great. I mean, just to sort of, I mean, you kind of mentioned that you were looking at cars. I mean, obviously, there's the financial aspect of it, isn't there? I mean, that's always going to come into it because we know it's expensive and everything else. I mean, was there anyone or any sort of company or anyone like that who kind of made a big difference in you being able to go to cars, or was it just a case of getting out there and just trying to talk to people and try and get some budget together?
Oh yeah, I've had a few really good sponsors for a few years. The Durite, Fisher Panther, and Brigade. Obviously, since my dad and granddad, the family business is an electrical company which is in the automotive industry. We have quite a lot of connections that want to sponsor a race car. So it really worked out quite well, actually. But yeah, definitely without backing from all those sponsors, it'd be a lot harder to do.
God, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you say, unless you happen to be born into a family of money or you get a big chunky inheritance, which has happened a couple of times, you know, having those sponsors and those people around you is great. And obviously, people that have seen your success in the karts and like how well you've done and who know the family business and everything, they're obviously going to get involved and stay involved, which is absolutely vital, isn't it? It's a vital thing to have.
Yeah.
What series were you looking at? Because obviously there's plenty of series out there. I mean, you can go down any different kinds of routes. You could go, you know, there's like caterhams in the club racing or junior saloon or or whatever it might be. Was it just a case of looking what was out there, what budget you had and what you needed, and just trying to weigh it up?
Yeah, we eventually caught the JSCC caught our eye because it's definitely the most affordable junior racing series out there, and also when I was in it, I'd say it was probably one of the most enjoyable years I've had being in the JSCC.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the affordability thing is a huge thing. Obviously, there's plenty of series out there; they all cost, but the JSCC is consistently one that people seem to want to go to.
Yeah, you've got a lot of value for money in that championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to come to some of the costs involved in minis and stuff later on, but in comparison, I mean, no motorsport's cheap, but that's as cheap as you're going to get it at that level, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you hopped into, excuse me, Citroen Saxo. I think there were mostly Saxos on the grid, weren't they? I think.
It was all Citroen Saxos.
It was all Saxos, yeah. Which is brilliant because people at my age, they're the car you wanted when you were like 20. They were like, yes, everyone wanted a Saxo.
So you got a 14-year-old in it now.
Blimey. Blimey. But yeah, you got on board with like Westbourne Motorsport, who obviously people within the British motorsport world will know are one of the most respected teams in there, and like they know what they're doing. How did it all come about? Did you just say, look, this is what we've got and approach teams, or did they come to you, or how did it all come together?
Yeah, just we did the JSCC scholarship, and that was a really good way of getting you into looking at what to do. Yeah, done that, didn't win it, but then we got talking to Westbourne, as you said. Then it just all happened.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, and again, it's, you know, we talked about results from a young age, but it comes to a point where you switch to cars and the results aren't everything. Even if you don't win the scholarship, people can see that you've done it and you've gone out there, you've given it a go, and you've obviously done well, which obviously paints you in a good light, and with Westbourne getting on board as well. This is what I asked to a lot of people, actually. When you go from karts into cars, it's interesting talking to different people who have gone down different routes. Those who have gone from karts into like single seaters have said it was like a big go-kart with a bit of downforce type thing.
Yeah, I've heard that quite a lot.
Yeah. And one thing I always wonder, obviously, you've gone from a kart which you're sitting in the middle, nice and low, pretty rigid, to a Saxo where you're sitting on the right, I guess, or whichever side it is you're sitting on, and you've got brake loadings and roll and depth perception. I mean, there's quite a lot to get your head around. I mean, how did you take to it? I mean, the first time you drove it, were you just sort of in and off, or did you just think, crikey, what am I doing here?
But to be honest, it didn't really. It just obviously after a few test sessions, you sort of get a good feeling for your car. But I did have the help of a driver coach called Ed Peed, for that whole season. He was a lot about that season. He was really good. But yeah, just as I said, after a few sessions in the car, you sort of get a feeling for it. Then you just build it up from there.
Yeah, that's cracking. Because I mean, and again, the driver coaches don't get mentioned often enough, I don't think, in these sort of kind of chats, because we're talking about the drivers and stuff. But obviously, a lot of the touring car drivers and drivers all around the world who race, that's their bread and butter, isn't it? They're the driver coaches, and just the tiny little bits of information can make a huge difference, can't they?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I mean,
I'd say for that season, Ed was crucial for my development that season, because he obviously was a new car to me and that, and he just taught me all he knew about it, and yeah, went really well.
Fantastic! I'd like to give a big shout out to Ed. We've got to give it, and to all the coaches out there as well. Got to give a shout out. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, again, I mean, I do talk a lot about expectations and plans and stuff ahead of seasons, because you never know quite how they're going to go. I mean, did you think that you could be competitive? Did you think I'll be happy with top 10s or top 15s? Or, I mean, what were you kind of thinking going into the season, having got to grips with the car in testing?
I think the best way of doing things is just not really expecting anything at all, just seeing how it goes. That's what I've always done, and it's always went quite well for me, so I'll keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, you kind of don't set yourself up for a fall, do you? Think, I want to go and win everything, and then you don't. You're like, oh, you kind of fall out of love with it pretty quickly. I mean, you'd obviously prove that you could do it in testing, and I did see that you had a solid sort of start at Silverstone in the first round, because you hadn't really raced on many of these tracks before, or any of them. And I think, was it the third race of the season? You went to Cadwell.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You won third race in cars, and you've won at Cadwell. You must have been over the moon with that, because Cadwell's not an easy circuit either.
No, no, it's not. Yeah, but we went there for the first time, and it's probably the most twisty, bendy circuit I've ever been to. Yeah. I remember that was my first win. Obviously, since we had a few years off from karting, getting testing in cars, we didn't have a win for a few years. So I remember come back in the pits, and then just. The whole team was celebrating. Everyone was really happy. So yeah, that was probably one of the best moments I've had that win.
That's absolutely fantastic. And I mean, no disrespect to any other circuits. I mean, you've got Thruxton's fast, but it's pretty, flowing and stuff. And like Silverstone National is similar and things like that. But I mean, Cadwell. I mean, blimey. I've been around it once. I was given a hot lap round there, and I just thought, this is the only time that I'm glad I wasn't driving. It's so narrow and it's twisty. The big loop out the back, down the hill, and up the mountain.
That mountain section's brutal.
Obviously with the guys on bikes, they get plenty of air going over the jump there. Does it feel like you're getting some air when it goes up?
It's not powerful enough for that, but if I was in something a bit more powerful, I'm sure it would help.
Yeah, I probably felt like I was jumping over things, but I mean, but like a super tricky circuit in a new car, new series, and to win that race, that's sort of pretty impressive. Obviously, after those first two rounds, did you think that there was enough pace in the car and in you to sort of to do well? I mean, obviously you were on the pace because you'd won at Cadwell and you'd done. Did you think maybe we got a chance of doing something good here?
Yeah, definitely. After that first race win, I thought to myself, like, we have a good chance of having a good challenge for the championship this year. Yeah. It turns out I thought right in the end.
Well, just a bit, yeah. I mean, you backed up that win. I think you had second in race 3, I think, at that weekend. And I had a quick count up. You actually had 8 podiums in 10 races through the middle of the season. I've got here that you had wins at Silverstone, Knockhill, and Donington. 3 very different tracks. Silverstone's quite flat and quite quick, and I think it was Silverstone National, wasn't it? So it was only 4 corners or whatever it is. Not to belittle it, because they're 4 very tricky ones. And then you've got Knockhill. Excuse me. You've got Knockhill, which is like a roller coaster. It's just bonkers, and I love it. And you've got Donington, which I always say is a bigger version of Knockhill. But I mean, of those 3 kinds of circuits, was there any kind of circuit that you enjoyed the most? Because I think all the spectators enjoyed Knockhill.
That's my favourite as well. As you said, it's like a roller coaster, that track, and just whenever you're there, the quality of racing is always really good as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's good value for money because you get loads of laps in, and you know.
Yeah.
And
They
it's
even had us doing the reverse layout as well in the Saxos.
I was just going to say, did you do the
Yeah,
you know?
we did one race with it, and yeah, it's just completely different.
That's crazy because I mean it's a completely different car setup, I guess, isn't it? You know, to going the right way round. I mean, every time I see footage of it, I think going down the hill from the straight and then going left into the hairpin, a downhill hairpin, that must be absolutely mental.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite corners. That reverse hairpin.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And obviously going down the chicane and up, yeah, fantastic, fantastic circuit. But I mean, again, that must have given you confidence because to win at those three circuits, so different lap lengths, different corners, different types of circuits. You must have been thinking we can really do something by this point. You must have really been looking forward.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, it was like, yeah, we've got a few wins under our belt, and it's like, yeah, we can definitely maybe win this championship.
Yeah, that's got to be a great feeling. Your first
Yeah.
season, love that. I mean, now I did look at the results here, and there might be a little caveat here because I know that Harry Hipton was doing well, wasn't he? He was up and running really well, and his name seemed to vanish off the old podiums and everything. I don't know what happened with him, but what you did in the last two rounds of the season was pretty spectacular. I just want to start with like Pembury first because it's a cracking little circuit.
Yeah. So it's hidden gem in it, Pembury. No one really talks about it.
It's I think a hidden gem is absolutely right. I mean, it's a super. I mean, they used to do F1 testing there. I remember Alan Prost said he tested the McLaren there, I think, or the Williams or something, which is a mental thought. You know, taking an F1 car around there, absolutely superb. It's a proper underrated circuit. Had you been to Pembury at all before?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I'm completely new to Pembury that year.
Wow. So you'd never been round, and I've got here. You had 3 pole positions in the 3 races, and won them all. As a first go around a circuit, that's
Can't get much
pretty
better
good.
than that. Yeah, I was really good that weekend.
I mean, was it a circuit that you felt you took to pretty?
Yeah,
pretty
definitely.
well?
I just felt like it was the perfect circuit for my driving style. And at that point, we knew if we needed to win every single race to catch up to Harry, who was leading the championship. So I was just so focused on trying to get to him. That definitely helped.
That's and I quite like that you said that it was a perfect circuit because I spoke with Joseph Loke, who's obviously gone into F3 and did the Aston Martin F1 test and all that. He said the same thing. He said he hadn't been, but there was something about Pembury. It just suited the way it suited his eye. It suited the way he drove. So you're obviously made out of the same kind of stuff as him, which was great. And obviously that put you right in the championship hunt. I mean, 3 poles and 3 wins, pretty hard to beat. But you managed it at Brands Hatch. 3 poles, 3 fastest laps, and 3 wins. I mean, you'd raced at Brands before. I think there was a race earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was a tall order, even what you'd done at Pembury. But did you really think we can do this? We can.
I have to say, even more so. Brands Hatch is probably my favourite track. So I jumped that one even more. So yeah, I was quietly confident going in that I thought I could do it, especially after all the momentum we built up at Pembury, and just stuck through it and managed to do it.
Yeah. I mean, because in those races, when you're going for a championship, you've got 3 races. It's the same circuit pretty much. Well, it changes a little bit. But was there anything that you remember, in that weekend that made you think, that turned it up a notch even more? Was there anything that you did, like an overtake or a lap or something that you thought, I am going to do this. I am going to win this thing.
Yeah, it was just a thought of only being a few points off Harry Higton. I have to say, he was probably one of the best rivals I've had in my career, Harry Higton. It was a really good season battling him. But yeah, just the thought of if I win all 3 races, I'd be the winner. That's what had me on.
And that was it. Just a simple, single minded. And you did it. You won all 3 races. You won the championship by a decent margin in the end. I mean, that must have felt absolutely amazing. Your first proper season in cars to win the championship and something as competitive as the JSCC. I mean, you said the celebrations for the first win were pretty wild. But I can only imagine what it was like when it was secured at Brands.
Yeah, that was a good night, that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet. I mean, but you're too young to have a drink of anything, so you must have been watching everyone else. Just
Yeah, I was, yeah.
I think you're still too young now, aren't you?
Next
Oh,
month,
yeah.
that change.
Next
18
month.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I see. There you go. There's a reason to celebrate. See, you've got some celebrating to make up for. But I mean, again, it must have given you just. I mean, I've actually got here. You won by 56 points.
It was the last round was double points. That's why it seems like it was quite a lot.
No, we don't need to know. But again, double points. I mean, everyone's fully on it, and you've gone there and you've won it. And
well, that's another reason why I was just fully head down going for it. I was like, oh, these double points, I need to get them all.
It kind of makes it even more possible, I guess. But that's there's that line in a famous film about cars, isn't there? It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And I did say on the grid, I had a quick look through who was on the grid. Obviously, there was Harry Hickton was on there, and there were guys like Harvey Dent and Travis Chapman, who was very good. Sandro Ballesteros, who follows the page, he did some races, and Jacob Heap, who people will know. And I saw there was like Keel Lynch was on there as well. There was a few female races in there.
Yeah.
So it was a good mixed grid, really talented grid, which must have just added to the sweetness of it all, I guess.
Yeah, especially when you've had a hard full season with a few tough competitors, it really adds to the enjoyment in the end. Because just for the whole season, it was me, Hickton, and Dent all just scrapping out every single race. Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, and it's nice when you're kind of friendly-ish, but you want to beat them. It's all about what happens on track. I mean, it must be joy, but also maybe like a bit of relief. I mean, I guess as you get older, you kind of worry about more stuff, and then you're relieved when it doesn't happen. Obviously, when you're a bit younger, you kind of just think, yeah, it's all good.
I think I'm still at that stage now.
Never lose that. Just don't worry too much. I'm guilty of that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, fantastic to win that championship, and it kind of started what's been a pretty rapid rise, as we alluded to. I mean,
like I say, the momentum's still carrying on from then, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's borne out in like your route through from the JSCC. I mean, were you looking at other championships after that? Do you think could be doing another season? Is there any point doing another season? Were you looking at other series once you'd won it?
Yeah, of the sort of natural progression from Saxos is sort of what we did. The mini route is sort of the usual thing after that.
Yeah, and I guess with it being on the trophy being on the Toka package for selected rounds, I guess that was a big draw as well, because there's the possibility of TV coverage. I guess it was an easier sell to sponsors and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. That Toka package is definitely an easier sell for the sponsors. They all have a bit of TV time.
Yeah, who wouldn't? That's the bread and butter, isn't it? I mean, obviously, because a few years back, I think everyone used to go through the Clio route for the exact same reason when it was on the Toka package, and then everyone seems to have hopped over to the minis. Again, come to budget. I mean, was it I always imagine it's quite a big step going from the JSCC, which, as we said, was so affordable, to the minis, which, as you move up through the mini series, they get more and more like touring cars to drive, and more like touring cars to pay for. I mean, we kind of alluded to the easier sell. Was it at that point that any more sponsors came on board, or?
Yeah, well, after my successful year in Saxos, we've had loyal sponsors for quite a while. They just got more and more interested, so works out quite well. Yeah,
and I guess seeing that you've won the races and you obviously got the ability to do this, and the TV added in, I guess if it's doable, then it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it would be if it was me. Excuse me. Now, I've spoken to a few of the mini drivers. Excuse me. Got a bit of a tickle. My apologies. I've spoken to a few mini drivers who have gone through the route that you've done. And they've said that the car is a much harder car to drive than some of the series before it. It's quite sort of stiff, or it's a bit lively, and I think it was Bradley Gravitt said it's always trying to spit you off the track. I mean, how did you find the Mini the first time you got into it compared to the Saxo?
The Mini Trophy, it was quite similar, both low powered front wheel drive cars. It's literally, I just called it a Saxo on slicks. It's literally but the JCW on the other hand, that was a completely different beast. But I think it suited my driving style. I like the car lively, and I like it the back turn and the front, as you call it. It really suited my driving style, I think.
That's good to see. I love that. Now, someone else who said that similar thing, they didn't go through the Minis, they went through a different route, through like Ginettas and stuff, was Harry King. And he said the same thing. He said, you know, before he got in the car, he was told it was pretty hard to drive.
Yeah.
And he said after a couple of laps, he was all over it because, you know, he likes that lively kind of car. And obviously, Harry's gone on to do quite well. So that's good. So that bodes well. Excuse me. So, I mean, obviously, I guess it was a similar kind of story as to how it was with the Saxo. You kind of, once you did a few laps in it, you got
just once you start having getting a bit of time in the car, you just build it up from there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, now I did look through, but on websites and stuff, there aren't many of the results posted on there. But from what I can see, I mean, it was pretty solid, you know, year. You had like podiums and things like that. I mean, once again, it was almost not quite on JSCC levels of success, but you were running at the top end for most of the season.
It was a sharp end for most seasons. Yeah, it was, in my books, it was still a good season.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess coming on the back of a championship, you want another one, but stepping up into another series, you know, a different car, you know, completely different, you know, grid and, you know, some different circuits and layouts and stuff. I mean, you're obviously pretty happy with how it went, and I think you finished up. Was it in the top 8, wasn't it? Oh, top 6 or 7 or something. I can't remember exactly where it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I had 2 wins at Snetterton, and then I think it was a win at Brands Hatch at the end of the season, and then a few more podiums as well. So overall, it was a good season. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, probably as good as you could have expected going into it. Which is always, you know, good knowing that you can like step up and, you know, and like be competitive. But in that year, there was a certain team called Accelerate Motorsport who have done quite well the last few years. We're going to come to them in a minute, but they, I don't want to say gave you a drive in the JCW because no one gets given anything, but you had the opportunity to race in the JCW. How did that come about with Accelerate? I mean, had they seen you, or had you sort of gone sidling up to them and?
I think it was a mixture of both. I think, I think that they were interested in me. I was interested in just getting a taster for the JCWs because we were planning on doing it the season after. So it was like, oh, we might as well try it out for the last round of the season and see how it goes. Get a good start.
Yeah, and you know, and as you say, get your foot in the door, and you know, get ahead of the curve.
Get the foot in the door.
Yeah, and just kind of get ahead of the curve a bit, I guess. Yeah. Now, I mean, we touched on this before, and I've mentioned it before. I've spoken with, as I said, with Brad Gravitt. I've spoken with Dan Zelos, and I've spoken with Lydia as well. They all said they thought that the Mini Cooper, you know, the trophy car was pretty rapid until they got into the JCW, because they thought, oh, this would be quite similar. And it just wasn't. They just said they couldn't believe how, I think it was Lydia said she couldn't believe how fast she was going into, is it Old Hall at Alton Park, turn 1. She says, I couldn't believe how fast I was going into it. I mean, was that how it felt for you? Was it a real eye-opener?
Yeah, well, to be fair, well, I thought the car wouldn't be too different the first time opening the JCW, but I was sorely mistaken. I remember the first time going out for practice 1 on the weekend. It was like twice the power of the Cooper. And I was absolutely blown away.
That much? And was it at Brands?
Yeah, Brands GP as well. Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty big surprise.
So your first corner coming out of the pits, the first corner in a JCW was Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah.
Good grief. I mean, that is in at the deep end, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I'm not surprised it blew your socks off. I mean, even as a spectator, when I go, I think that corner gets steeper every time. Even just walking down it, you think, oh, what the hell? And like the GP loop, I mean, there's a lot of drivers who hadn't driven the GP.
I think that was my first time going around GP loop as well. I'm pretty sure. So really got chucked in the deep end there.
Goodness me! I mean, what did you? I mean, it feels like a silly question, but what did you think when you were going out into the GP loop? Obviously, you go under the bridge and drop down into the back of the circuit, and then Hawthorne around the back. I mean, it's a fabulous bit of, it's a fabulous bit of circuit. I mean, people talk about Bathurst being a superb circuit. I think the back of Brands Hatch is up there, just without the big mountain. But I mean, because I'm not a racer, I always think half of me would be going, oh my good Lord, what am I,
what have I got myself into? That's exactly what I feel.
And half of me would be laughing.
Yeah. So, this car is pretty quick. Oh, I like that.
God, that's amazing. That must have been, quite an experience. And I'm guessing pretty soon you thought, this is a bit of me. I kind of fancy this.
Yeah, after the first sessions, the getting used to a new car thing sort of wore off. Then just became natural, really. It happens, just getting used to the car. Then by the race day, it was all pretty good.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I did see that on like race day, obviously you're now thrown into the middle of the pack and it is a pretty crazy pack, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. I mean, there's a lot of elbows out, and there's not a lot of room to manoeuvre, and
that's just the way I like it.
Yeah, see, proper racer right there. That's it. I mean, again, I mean, your first race corner, Paddock Bend, in the minis, in the middle of the pack. I mean, you've got to learn quick, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it helped me out quite a lot getting choked in the deep end, to be honest. It made me learn quick. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to learn in anything. Whether it be your day job, whether it be racing, whatever, just get right out of your comfort zone, get yourself in there and see how it goes. I mean, even the very basic level doing these things, I'd never sat in front of a camera, and the first time I did was with one of my heroes live to people watching, and I'm sitting there thinking, what am I doing? And obviously that was the same with you, just far more excitingly. But you had was it top 10 finish, wasn't it, in that?
Yeah, 10, yeah.
You must have been chuffed to bits with that.
Well, yeah, once again, just went in not really expecting anything, and then sort of impressed myself on that one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That was towards the end of the season, so a great way to end the season. You've had a solid season in the trophy, and you've had a taster of JCW. Now, I'm going to get onto JCW in a minute, but first, your dad has commented on YouTube. Good evening, Matt. Thank you for tuning in. I hope we're not. I hope we're treating your boy nicely. He has said, this feels like a loaded question. Ask Max about pulling people's pants down on and off track. Is that something we can answer?
I mean, if you do a good move on someone, you say, "Oh, I had his pants down on the track," and off the track in Saxos, I made a few really good friends in Saxos, as in like Harry Hickton, Jonathan Moore. You might have heard of them, you might not. But yeah, we had a joke where if you'd go behind them and pull their pants down if they weren't expecting it. got in a little bit of trouble for that, so I can't really do it anymore. But
yes, it's probably not something to do with Colin Turkington or someone.
No, I don't think that'd go right there. That wouldn't go down too well now.
Not on the first weekend, anyway.
Yeah, settle in maybe after a few, but definitely.
Yeah, after the summer break, once they get to know you a bit. Sorry, Colin. Excuse me. Actually, one thing I do have to say, talking about the Saxos and stuff. Last week, we've actually, the Hard Compounds partnered with the guys over at Kersley Motorsport, and I spoke with Harvey Kersley, and he said he was a big fan of yours. He says that he's kind of looks up to how you go racing, and so he's a big fan of yours. So I need to give a shout out to him. And I think Sheila Kersley just tuned in. Hello, Sheila. She's setting up at the Auto Sport Show So if anyone's going to the Autosport show this weekend, go and see Kersley Motorsport. Go and give them a shout. Anyway, have to do that. Right. What have I got here? A couple of comments here. I'll come to the one about the eyes on the car in a minute. Firstly, Diffan Evans, evening Diffan. He said that Paddock Hill Bend doesn't seem that steep from watching on TV, but once you're actually standing on the corner, that's when you know how steep it is. Yes.
Yeah. You ever get a chance to walk the track? It's literally just down like that.
I mean, I've always thought that the track walk at Brands must be a lot of fun, but it must hurt your legs.
Quite a few hills going down there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, folks, if you haven't been to Brands Hatch, I mean, it's my favourite circuit in the UK.
Yeah, same here.
Probably one of my favourite circuits in the world. I've been there hundreds of times. But Paddock Hill Bend, it just gets me every time. I still look at it and think, geez, it's just absolutely crazy. But there's a little known fact. They used to go around the other way, the Indy circuit. It was an old grass track thing, and they used to go around the other way on grass up Paddock Hill Bend, which might be fun in a touring car.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see for that one.
Yeah, have to see how that goes. But yeah, thank you, Diffan. What we got here? Bob Sharpless. Hello, Bob. Says Max will be at the Autosport show. Go and say hello. Yes, you're there. Actually, yeah, we'll touch on that now before we go to the minis, the JCW. You're at the Autosport. You're actually up on stage, aren't you? On Saturday and
Sunday.
Yeah. Which is cool. Just sort of talking about. I guess just talking about the upcoming season, isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, a little preview.
I'm there tomorrow, the next day as well, but I'll just be on the stand with my Mini.
Okay. Oh, awesome. I didn't know you were going to be there on this. I mean, as I said, I'll put some posts out about it, but I'll be there tomorrow. But yeah, we'll have a catch up. But yeah, I think you're on stage. I think Chris Smiley's there and Tom Ingram over the weekend, aren't they? I think those two lads are there, and I think Bobby is there on Friday. So that's good. Another question here. Mark Wagstaff from BTCC Blueprints. Hello, Mark. Happy New Year to you. We'll come to your question in just a minute. And also, just from Sheila Kersley, who I mentioned before, she said, it's so lovely to see a young driver with a great personality. Don't ever lose that, and good luck for the season.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely right. Just keep being you. Do your stuff. This is good. Yeah, I see it. And there's more love for Brands Hatch coming in. Kay Warren, hello, Kay. Feels like a second home to her. Paddock Hill Bend is certainly steep. Yes, absolutely. So yes, Autosport show. You're there with the Mini, which is great. I shall be heading there in the morning. Which brings us on to minis, of course. The JCW with Accelerate Motorsport. Just a word on them, because what they've done probably since 2019, 2020, that kind of time, when, with all due respect to them, they were running around at the back of the BTCC, I think with Sam and Rob Edwards, wasn't it, in the MG. And what they've done in the last 5 years across the BTCC, the Mini Challenge, and everything else, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. I have to say, when I was with them last year, such a professional team. They just made the year really good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned off camera about Justina Williams, who's the team boss. You won't find anyone more determined or passionate about the motorsport, will you? I mean, obviously, and she's lovely as well, and you can have a really good laugh with her. But when it comes to business, she means business, doesn't she? She doesn't take any nonsense.
No, yeah, she really means it.
Yeah. Were you even daunted by her? Because when I first spoke to her for 5 minutes on here, I thought, oh my God. Goodness me. But yeah, obviously JCW, they were probably the team to be with, last year. Obviously the car, you had a bit of a grounding in, like a bit of a baptism of fire with it. Where are we? Again, the funding, I guess, obviously Accelerate, there is some money there, but I mean, was it again just like the law partner sticking with you? The sponsors and everything else like that.
Every year, with it being on the touring car package and on the TV, it's just easier to sort of say, well, you'll get these advantages if you continue sponsoring me. So yeah, and a few new ones as well joined up for the year. So yeah, sponsorship-wise, he's been going really good.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think getting sponsors is one thing, but keeping them through your results and what you can offer them and how you are as well is like quite another thing. It's very difficult to do. So we should say well done to you for hanging on to, to some sponsors, and well done to sponsors for being so loyal as well. I mean, again, you mentioned that you didn't really have targets. You were very much a let's just see how it goes type thing. Last season, though, were you looking at the Rookie Cup as being something that you could, that you could do well? Because there's a few rookies across the season, wasn't there? I mean,
Yeah.
were you thinking that'd be nice?
Yeah, I mean, obviously after the first few rounds, we were like, oh, well, we got a few race wins. We're quite high up in the championship. We could win this. So I was really focusing on that for the whole season. I've got to say, Dan Zalossi, it was a tough competitor that season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really good season racing him. But yeah, at the end of the season, the Brands wrapped up the Rookie Championship. Yeah, it was really nice to have.
Yeah. No, and just a quick word on Dan. I mean, obviously, he knows his way around a Mini, didn't he?
He does.
Very well. And I think for you to take a title challenge, to him, obviously no disrespect to any of the other drivers on the grid, but Dan is clearly, the guy to beat.
Yeah, he's the man of the Minis. Yeah, Dan is.
And you took him all the way. Just to backtrack quickly, I mean, you mentioned off air actually that you didn't think of any plans going into season, anything, but in testing, pretty much straight off the bat, you were right on the pace. Was that a bit of a surprise?
Considering I jumped in at the deep end and done decently, we're like, yeah, we could be quite quick next season, but I was certainly a bit quicker in testing than I thought I would be. So yeah, that set me up nicely for the season.
That's got to be a lovely surprise. To be on, to be so competitive straight off the bat, even in a testing format. Hang on, your dad's commented again. Yeah, he said, I think this is talking about the pulling the trousers down, pulling the pants down. He says that it got way out of hand and wonder how it would go in the BTCC. Well, there's only one way to find out. We'll leave that for a minute. But he said that he's actually at the Autosport now, unloading the Mini and the touring car. Very cool.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, the touring car be there as well.
Oh, what, the Unlimited?
Yeah. Forgot to say that. That's probably quite important.
Oh, that's awesome. You see, you'd see now the guy I've been dealing with getting this sorted. Yeah, Rahil. He didn't mention that. Well, pest. But no, that's very cool. So yeah, Matt, we'll come see you tomorrow. You say you're in at the deep end. It was almost literal at Donington. It was throwing it down. I mean, you must have thought, well, this isn't ideal for my first weekend in the JCW.
Usually I prefer it being wet. I've always been quick in the wet, and really, I think my talent shines through when the track's wet. So yeah.
I mean, I think that is a thing actually that a lot of people have said. Those who have been successful, they say it's how you go in the wet, because you don't tend to do much wet testing, and it's always, most races are in the dry, and the wet's the leveler, and it's when the ability really comes through. But you qualified well. I mean, the first race didn't quite go to plan, but where were we? I mean, I think it was the third race, just like it was in the JSCC. Your third race, you won.
Yeah, Brands Hatch, yeah.
At Brands. I mean, by this point, this is getting too. What's the word? Too consistent, to be a fluke. You're going in and like you're winning early on. And you beat some chap called Zelos as well. I think I've heard of him somewhere. I mean, you must have been over the moon to have won that race, to have beaten Dan. I mean, I think Dan was second, wasn't he?
He was. Right. Yeah, me and him had a really good battle that weekend. I
remember seeing that. I mean, even say if you hadn't won that race, you must have thought, I can go toe-to-toe, elbow to elbow with basically the best Mini driver out there.
Yeah, that's when it really started picking up. Like from that point, it was like, well, we definitely can give it a good shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I've got on my notes here, and I remember seeing that and thinking, all right, okay, who's this lad? That was when I kind of first saw you, and and doing well. Excuse me. Now, one round that sticks in my mind from last season, I think it sticks in the mind of a lot of people, was Snetterton because of the weather. I mean, it was we had 4 seasons in about 20 minutes, didn't we? And it was absolutely crazy. I mean, was that I mean, obviously we had a lot of bad weather at Donington, but it was just rubbish weather all day. So it didn't really change much. But Snetterton, it was so changeable. You guys got caught right up in the middle of it with tyres and setup and everything. Honestly, was there like a bit of a panic? Were you thinking, "Oh God, the rain's coming in"?
I mean, from what I remember, half the track was dry and then half the track was wet. So we just put on wet tyres, same as most other people, and that just went out and hoped for the best.
I love that. You know, you kind of done what you can, but at the end, you just got to send it and see how it goes. I mean, the two races that I remember was it you took third in the second race.
Yeah.
There, and you were racing with Dan and with Nelson.
Yeah. I was for that for those 2 races. My gearbox was had a major problem with it. I had to start using the clutch and right foot braking to go down gears, and it gets stuck.
Wow, I didn't realise that. I mean, that makes it even more impressive because because it was you, Dan, and obviously like Nelson King, and you were just going at it the whole way around. And it's those 2 races on the Sunday that I remember more than anything else of that season. Yeah, we
for the last race, we finally got the gearbox problem sorted. That's why I think that's why I won. But on the race before that, going under the bridge on the last lap, just about holding on to first place, and then gearbox gets stuck in third on like the second to last corner.
Man, that's got to be so annoying. That's got
yeah,
because obviously it's nothing that you've done wrong. You know, it's just one of those things. And I mean, up until that moment, when you're racing like that in a series like the Mini Challenge, which is so competitive against some top drivers, do you have a little smile on your face because just enjoying it? Because that, to me, those 2 races are what racing should be. I mean, nobody was using anyone else as a brake. Nobody was leaning anyone or running anyone off track. It was just proper hard racing on the tarmac.
Yeah, that's the way I like it. Really, just good hard racing.
Yeah, absolutely right. And sometimes it goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't. But you got to win that weekend, and that must have been one of the better wins, I reckon, just because of the way the day went and
definitely,
the weather and everything.
The mixed conditions really threw everyone off, but managed to still come out on top.
Yeah, which was fantastic. And it was a great one to watch. So thank you to you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Also, great that weekend. We need to mention Lydia because she sort of made a bit of history that weekend, didn't she? She was the first female on the JCW podium, and I think it was her first podium as well. We just got to say she does very, very well because it's just her and a little family-run outfit, isn't it? And she deserves a lot of credit, I think, anyway.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it was a really good result for her. Yeah, big well done.
Yeah, absolutely right. Where were we? Oh yeah, and again, at that point, you're kind of mid-season. You went to, I think you took another win up at Croft, which is proper underrated circuit. It's a lot faster than people realise, isn't it? It's a proper rapid circuit.
Yeah, it's a good little circuit, Croft. Quite enjoy my once-a-year visit there.
Yeah. It's just a long way. Well, it's from me anyway. I mean,
me as well.
Yeah, but it's excuse me. No, it's a cracking circuit, and to win there, I guess you hadn't raced there before, or you'd raced very.
Oh no, I was at Croft for a mini trophy.
In the trophy,
yeah.
So that win, consistent points and podiums and everything else. You are again in a title race. Was it around that time that you thought, "Hey, come on, we can,"
Yeah,
I kind of know it's Dan Zelos, and he's pretty good, but we can have a go at this.
Yeah, the brands, we had a drive shaft failure, so we were chasing quite a bit, and then just from then on, continue on to Croft, and that we were just getting our heads down, trying to score as much points as possible.
Yeah, and obviously winning there was, quite helpful. Then you went even further north, up to Knockhill, cracking circuit. Absolutely love it. I mean, we do make the odd joke about Knockhill, about it being cold and wet and foggy and everything, because it is. But I think on the BTCC and the mini weekend, it was one of the better. I think it was not really hot there.
Quite hot.
Yeah. And like, not even hot by Knock Hill standards. It was just hot.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, every time I've been there, the weather's been all right. It's been quite sunny.
Well, we have to keep you on the total package then, because you're bringing the hot weather. And yeah, again, some more solid results there. I think you took second there as well, which obviously kept you in the hunt, which is good. Again, another quick word for Dom Wheatley, because he obviously got his first win there and he'd been trying for a while. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Sorry, Dom. But yeah, it's nice to see different winners, isn't it? I mean, if you can't win it, it's nice to see someone get there first, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. Especially Dom. He's a funny guy, Dom is. Chatting to him a lot during the season since we're both on Accelerate. But yeah, it's really nice to see him get his first win after him trying so hard. Yeah,
absolutely right. Because I mean, even when he won the trophy, he didn't win any races. He just was knocking it all there. So it was great to see him win. So yeah, nice one. Nice one to Dom. Obviously, when all was said and done, Dan was just proper rapid, wasn't he? I mean, he was properly quick, and obviously a deserving champion, as any champion is. But the last round at Brands, you took 3 podium finishes. I mean, you can't do too much more than that. And I mean, to clinch the Rookie Cup there, second in the overall championship. Obviously, it would have been lovely to win, of course. But I mean, you stepped up to the JCWs and be second overall. That is mighty impressive.
Yeah, really successful for me. Yeah, I'd say that and my year in Saxo was definitely my 2 favorite years I've had.
Yeah, I'm sure. And obviously, you know, the results help, but I mean, you got to enjoy yourself along the way. And just from the outside looking in, the way you went racing, the way you were driving, you could almost tell you're thinking he is loving life in that car. Yeah, because some people, it looks like they're kind of wrestling with it or they're really being precise. It just looked like you were just there, just enjoying the racing.
Yeah. I'd have to. Yeah, the car. By the end of the season, I was just so in tune with the car where it was just really enjoyable to drive.
Yeah, fantastic. I've just seen a comment here very quickly from our good friend Rahil at Unlimited Motorsport. Hello, mate. He said all 4 days at Autosport. Yes, you're all there, all 4 days. So, folks, if you're at Autosport this weekend, do go and check out the Mini and the Cupra, which we'll come to in a second. We've got some more comments which I'm going to come to in a minute. But we're talking about the Mini last year. The thing that everyone noticed, and I think you know where I'm going with this. Yeah, I mean, firstly, I love a yellow car. I always have. Ever since like Ayrton Senna back in '87, any yellow car, I kind of latch onto it, and I don't know why. But now loads of people have asked me about this, and I'm going to put it to you. Who was it? Now, there was a comment here. I'm actually going to read it out. I'm going to give someone else the credit here. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to have a quick scroll. Where are we? Kay Warren. Hello, Kay. Whose idea was it to make your distinctive eye headlights on the Mini? Because they look brilliant.
Yeah, they were really good, weren't they? I can't take credit for it. It wasn't my idea. I think it was a mixture of people who were like, "Oh, this could look good." Like my dad, and then my uncle and all their friends who were interested in racing were like, "Oh, we should try this." Then Bramfix is the one who made my graphics for the season. And then they made it look good, and it was probably one of the best looking cars on the grid this season, I'd say.
Absolutely right. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 that stood out, but yours it was brilliant because I can remember seeing it and thinking, putting eyes on the front of a car. I think
it made it look menacing, didn't it? It stood out quite a bit.
Yeah, but that could easily look not the way you want it to. I mean, it's one of those things you think it's a good idea, but if you get it wrong, it might not work. But you guys absolutely nailed it. It did.
Bramfix did a really good job of delivery.
Yeah. It was superb. It was a great looking car, and it was great. And it was even better that it was running up at the front, of course. That was great. I mean, we've sort of touched on Accelerate Motorsport. Obviously, you had a great season with them. Obviously, Dan was with them. Don was with them. We saw what Dan did in the Hyundai in the BTCC, which was mighty impressive. Obviously, you've now made the move into the BTCC. Is kind of what Dan did, is that kind of perhaps a benchmark or something that you can look at and try and sort of say, well, look, you can go into the BTCC and do well straight off the bat.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be definitely trying to sort of copy what Dan did. It's a really good benchmark to have.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now we've got to come to the BTCC because I know that's why a lot of people have tuned in. People love the BTCC, and why wouldn't you? We said off air before we came on. Well, you said that it's come around a bit more quickly than you thought.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Given that when COVID hit, which wasn't that long ago, you still hadn't driven any cars, and now you're in the BTCC. As I said to you before, we had Daryl De Leon was on just before Christmas, and he went in, brand new team, just him, no one to sort of bounce ideas off and things like that. How did the move to Unlimited come about? When did you kind of think there might be a possibility of making the move to the BTCC with them?
Yeah, well, a few months back, we had a test day with them, and then it sort of just all went from there, really.
Just as simple as that. It was a case of, look, there's an opportunity here, and
yeah, exactly.
Because
opportunity and took it.
Yeah, which is absolutely brilliant, because I know they're looking at, well, it's pretty common knowledge they're looking at expanding the team, and I'm not going to ask about teammates or what the situation is with that, because it's not the right thing to do. But have you been able to get in and have a look at the car, or spend any time with the team or anything like that since the announcement was made?
Yeah, I've had a few two or three test days so far.
Right.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Bob, the team owner, he's a really nice guy. Just been getting to know the team like family, really. It's been really good so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great you use the word family there, because I mentioned to Daryl about it, and he said that's what it felt like last year. Obviously, it was a relatively small team compared to other teams on the grid. And he said it felt like a real family feel to it, and everyone was just like working for each other, and everyone got on really well. I mean, I guess that's a big draw for you as well. You know, your first season. I mean, I get the feeling that in any series, some of the, I don't want to use big teams, but the more established teams that have been there for a while and everything, it could be maybe not sterile, but be a bit more kind of, I don't know what the word is, not serious, but you know what I mean. I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Whereas the guys at Unlimited, obviously, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're a very professional outfit. But it just feels like, I don't know, it just felt a bit warmer when I was there.
Definitely, yeah. It's nice to have a good friendly atmosphere.
Yeah, which is great. You know, there's enough going on with the BTCC anyway. Now, I mean, let's have a quick look here. Obviously, the car's been bedded in for a year. I mean, obviously, the Cooper's been on the grid for a couple of years now. We saw what the car might be capable of doing. I mean, that must be quite exciting for you, going in, seeing, you know, how they did with a one-car team last year, and the progression, that was made. Because I'm sure Rahil won't mind me saying this. At Media Day last year, I had a quick look in the back of the garage, and I went, "Oh, cool, okay." But I thought, there's no way that car's going to be on the grid for the first race of the season. And to go from there to what the team did last year was incredible. I mean, you must be really excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Carry that on.
Seeing Daryl have a good last round of Brands Hatch has definitely made me confident that I can go in and maybe do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely right. Have you spoken to Daryl about the car at all? Have you ever?
No, I haven't actually. No.
No. See, well, I'll have to put you in touch. We'll have a word. That'd be cool. And excuse me. There's talk about liveries and stuff. I know you can't give anything away. A few people have asked me about what it's going to look like. Is there anything you can let us know? Tell us maybe any colours you might have in mind or anything.
Trying to go same as the Mini again.
Yes. Love that. And if we can have the eyes as well. Okay, I know they're actual headlights, but
hopefully.
That'd be cool. Just as long as it isn't the eyelashes, those weird things that people put on Ford car. You don't want those.
Yeah.
But I mean, you said that you saw what Daryl had done in the last round.
Yeah.
And it kind of made you think maybe you could do it. I mean, we said it with other series as well. Is there anything that you're aiming at, or is it just a case of let's go and see where we are? And
go and see where we are again.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's just the best way to be. And there's a lot. I mean, I've had messages and emails saying about, you know, could he be one for the Jack Sears Trophy and things like that. I mean, who knows? You know, you just don't know, do you?
Yeah, until round one, not a clue.
Yeah, exactly that. And obviously, the chap we've just mentioned, whose car that you're going to be hopping into, he's joined quite a strong team.
Yeah.
So he might, he could be in for the JST, but but you never know. And if you carry on doing what you've been doing in the last 3 or 4 years, I think there's every chance that you can be, running up in the points, up in the top 10 or even better. Personally, anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's
Just can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, I can tell you're absolutely buzzing. You can, I can tell you actually can't wait. I've just seen that our friend Keith Mail, has said, "What a mature, sensible approach." Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's the best way to be. Oh, hang on, what have we got here? I asked you now. Different. I said, as you can't put the eyes on the headlights this year, will you be trying to get them somewhere on the Cupra this year? Oh yeah, you could go full Lightning McQueen. Top of it. Yeah, maybe we shall see. Okay, I mean, but yes, okay. Let's just sort of move on, wind down a bit. I mean, first, I think before we go any further, we just want to wish you and everyone at Unlimited all the very, very best for the BTC season. I mean, you must be so excited to be in there, and obviously, we wish you all the very best. Just quickly, I mean, there's a few comments actually that have come in. Actually, I am going to come to these. It was from where are we? Bob Sharpless has said, was it? Can't believe media duties means Dad has to deliver the cars. I think Max has planned this.
I promise I haven't. Promise I haven't.
Sure. I mean, just on media duties, obviously that's something that you're going to have to sort of, do more of, because obviously you've done post-race interviews and bits and pieces. Are you kind of looking forward to that? Because obviously you've been around the BTCC paddock, you know how it kind of works and the hustle and bustle of it all. Are you looking forward to the weekends getting a whole lot busier?
I'll have to wait and see. Not too sure yet. We'll see how it goes.
Great answer. No, we like that. Let's have a very quick look. Okay, one more thing just before we get to the fun questions and all the other bits and pieces. Oh, hang on, what we get? Oh no, there is one more. Sorry, from a Diffan Evans. He said, "If, and it's a big if, Dan Zilos will be on the BTCC grid, are you looking forward to continuing your on-track battles throughout the season?"
Oh, definitely, yeah, that'd be good. That.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I'd like to see that. Obviously, I personally hope Dan's on the grid next year because obviously he was very impressive last year, and seeing you two going at it in touring cars would be awesome.
Yeah, I think he would as well. I really hope he deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves that seat, and I really hope he gets it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. There's another couple of comments here. Oh, first one from Keith Mail. Hello again, Keith. Says, Max, did you ever think about a single-seater or open-top car career after karting? Was that ever on the cards?
No, we just sort of got into Saxo straight away and then sucked into the sort of closed car path.
Yeah.
And it never really gave single-seaters any fault, really.
Yeah, no, sure. And I guess once you're in there, it kind of steers you down like the tin tops kind of route. And as so many others have said, the single-seater route is mega bucks, isn't it? It's,
and there's that.
Not very expensive. I mean, I've mentioned this before. I'm not going to name names, but I know there is a driver who has done well in some of the lower single-seater formulas in the UK. They're looking at maybe moving into F3, as in FIA, Formula 1, F2, and F3. And they come from like a normal family, and they've got to find 1.7 million.
Yeah, it's a tall order, that.
I mean, that's unbelievable for Formula 3. I mean, goodness me. So yeah, probably a good move. Staying with the tin tops. Someone on YouTube, Saminator175. I'm going to assume that's someone called Sam. So hello, Sam. He just said, "Good luck, Max. Can't wait, and I'll see you at Donington." So that's cool. Lots of well wishes coming in, which is brilliant. Okay, one more thing before we wind down. Obviously, you're very happy with the move to the BTCC, and to
really
look beyond it would be foolish because this is a fantastic season coming up. Would you ever look at, I don't know, maybe staying in the touring cars for years and years if you could, or would you like to give like GT a go, or maybe prototypes or sports cars, anything like that, or whatever comes up?
Honestly, whatever comes up, to be honest, mate. I can't really, can't really think of a good answer to that. Just try and stick in touring car for as long as possible, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably the best way to go, isn't it? I mean, that's what's in front of you. Give it the best crack, and whatever happens, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, but again, if you carry on doing what you have been doing, I think you can go.
Whatever happens, happens, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And if you carry on, with that attitude and with the progress you've made, I mean, you could go as far as you like. In my book, I'm sure somebody will. Yeah, we'll see that, and you could. Yeah, I think you can go as far as you like. Anyway, that's my plan. Top talent. Okay, right. I think that's all the ones that we've come in from the comments we have. Okay, just a little wind down. We always do little general fun questions, just sort of silly things that I ask everyone. When you were very young and starting to racing, did you have a favourite driver who you used to sort of watch on the telly or look up to in any series?
Obviously, most people would say Ayrton Senna. Same with me. Really good. He was really good. And obviously on the TV currently, I really enjoy watching Max Verstappen. His hard racing style was always just, just think it's been entertaining to watch.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's really interesting because Max gets a lot of stick from followers of motorsport, just for how he is and how he races and stuff. It's amazing how many actual drivers, past and present, say how much they like watching Max. Just getting that racer's perspective. And I will always listen to you racers over anyone else because you guys know what you're talking about. And,
in my opinion, Max just races hard, and then it's just good entertainment for the TV.
Yeah, well. Which is why we tune in. No one tunes in for a boring race, do they? So, no, good stuff. Love that. Obviously, you've mentioned Max. Now, I mean, on your kind of route through, the tin top kind of world, is there anyone that you kind of admire, in your immediate kind of surroundings, whether in the minis or the touring cars, or is there anyone in that kind of world who you think they're pretty good? They're pretty
Ronan Pearson, he done a bit of driver coaching for me last year. Yeah, it's really good to see him get his win at Brands Hatch, and I'd say if there's anyone, it'd be him.
Yeah, that's a great shout because obviously with all the stuff with Dan Zelos that has gone on, and rightly so, he's got a lot of credit. But I think Ronan's almost been forgotten. He won a race last year and he went in and he did it, and he's been on here for a chat, and he's proper focused, and he gets the racing and he gets everything around it as well. He knows what he's doing, and and obviously we hope to see him on a grid this year because top guy as well. Top guy.
Yeah, he's top bloke.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I love that. Really love that. Apart from BTCC and F1, is there anything that you sort of follow, or is it just anything that goes?
To be fair, I only really follow BTCC nowadays.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, and why not? That's where you're heading, so get in and follow it. Okay, I shouldn't really ask this, but have you got a favourite driver in the BTCC that you're going to be racing against? Is there anyone that you're thinking I'm racing against so and so this year?
Definitely Tom Ingram.
Oh, good stuff. Good, and again, Tom just does it right, doesn't he? He does everything right.
Yeah,
proper racer.
Be interesting to see if I can pull any overtakes off on him or not.
Love that. Paddock Bend. That's it. Up the inside.
Dive bomb into there. See what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. Tom, watch out. He's coming. This is one that I always like. Do you have any pre-race rituals? Because some people put their left boot on first, or they.
I've got nothing. I'm bored of that. Yeah, I got nothing.
Just straight in and off you go.
Yeah. Good
stuff. Good stuff. I think we said the same thing to Darryl last time, and he said the same thing. He went, "I'll just go to the loo." That's it. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Okay, have you got a favourite circuit that you've raced, and is there one that you'd love to race on?
Definitely Brands Hatch is my favourite circuit. I've raced on, probably because I've had so much success around it, to be fair. I've made it my favourite track. But then one that I'd love to race on is got to be either, I'd say Monaco or Bathurst.
Oh, there's some good ones, aren't there? See, I'm pleased to hear some love for Monaco, especially from someone who's a bit younger as well, because, I mean, it gets a lot of stick, doesn't it, with F1 and the cars are too
Yeah.
big and it shouldn't work and it shouldn't do and it shouldn't be.
I think it's just such an iconic track. I got to give it a go at some point.
Yeah, exactly that. And also, every series apart from F1 provides brilliant racing around there, whether it's Formula E or the Porsches or whatever. So the cars are the problem. We love Monaco. Yes, one day, that'd be cool. Okay, favorite car you've raced? Have you got one a favorite car that you've raced? Because I mean, you've raced a few in quick succession. So
yeah, it'd have to be the JCW.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
Yeah.
Quality. And this is a good one. Is there one that you'd like to race? I mean, whether it be I don't know, in like British GT or in BTCC or even like a single seater. Is there any car that whenever you see it, you think, "Oh"?
Well, I would say touring car, but that's about what happens. So I think something else. Porsche Carrera, I'd say, yeah.
Ooh, good
Just
shout.
have to go with them.
Yeah, proper little GT car. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, you never know. You never know what's going to come
If you asked me a few months ago, I would have definitely said tour. I would have definitely said a BTCC car.
Yeah, and it's about to happen, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Let's think. One last question. What can we have? I mean, you say you don't really select targets and stuff for the year, but I mean, so if you fast forward to the end of the season and you look back at it, what would you like to be the highlight, like realistically? Obviously, you can say, race win, a champion, or whatever. But I mean,
just score as many points as possible. To be honest, maybe a few independent podiums.
Yeah.
As I said, I just have to go in and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to approach it. Go in there, give it your all, and if you can get some success, then great. Oh, final question from Diffan. Will you be sticking with number 93 this year or switching?
Yeah, no, I'll always have that. That's never going to change.
93. Why is it 93?
Oh well, back when my dad used to race, he had 39. And he had to switch it around once because someone else took that, so they had 93, and then it's just always been what I've had.
Oh, I love that little family tie to it. Great stuff. So yeah, folks, look out, number 93 this year. I think that's a good way. That's a good place to end. We've been on for about the right amount of time. Firstly, guys, thank you everyone for tuning in. All the questions, all the comments, much appreciated. I hope we've answered them all and covered everything. Of course, the biggest thanks though to you, Max. Thank you very much for coming on and having a chat. It was a bit of a hectic day getting it sorted. It's normally a lot smoother than that, but we're all good. But no, thank you for coming on. And I know there's a lot of people tuning in that will say the same, but we're just wishing you all the very, very best of luck this year. There's a lot of people I think are looking forward to seeing how you get on in the touring cars. And if it's half as good as it's been the last couple of years, then I think we're all going to enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Great stuff. And again, guys, if you're at Autosport this week, Max will be there. The team will be there. So stop by, say hello, and get ready to give them your support this year. We're looking forward to it. Right. Thank you very much, folks. We will see you very, very soon. Appreciate your support. And Max, thanks very much once again. Really appreciate it.